What's happening, man? Boskov back with another video about the latest news in video games for the PlayStation 4. At least one that I'm most interested in is the new God of War game that's getting ready to drop. Now, I've been watching this game and I've been looking at a lot of the trailers and the clips and the gameplay that they've had for a while, and I've been really dodgy about it. I've talked about it in the past before, and I've been really kind of iffy on wanting to like talk more about it, or like just iffy in general on like wanting to play it or just do any coverage about it or say anything about it, really, because a lot of the trailers and the gameplay in itself was really it was really unclear. That's the word I'm looking for. A lot of it was really unclear as to what kind of game that this was supposed to be. And it's really, the scariest part about it is it's really only until now that we've seen clear-cut gameplay. We have a clear understanding as to what this game is. And to me, at least for a game that's getting ready to drop, in a game that's highly anticipated for a lot of fans of this series, it's kind of scary because you want to know what you're getting into before you're getting into it, not a month before it's coming out with all the trailers and things. There was no like HUDs, there was no explanation or anything, but now we have that. We got 15 minutes of gameplay from PlayStation Underground. This was posted on PlayStation Underground, featuring this game. And we have an understanding as to what this game is. When it first came out, and they were talking about it, I was worried, especially after seeing Kratos' new son, which I'm really curious as to how this story will pan out, how it'll continue from 3, considering in 3, I do believe he killed himself. I don't know what happened in Ascension. I did not play Ascension, nor did I play the PSP trilogies, even though those are probably prequels, prequels to 3. But I was worried that this was going to be a Last of Us copy, given Kratos' son calls out the enemies, he's there to help, Kratos has a reason to be nice, things like that. He had basically it's called a trope in like the artist area of things and like film working and things like that. I think it's called like Badass with a Kid or something, where you have this character that's like super fucking powerful, that can do all this cool shit, that can take care of all the bad guys, the biggest and the baddest, and they have now, like, on top of their objective, they have like something to take care of on their mission, which is like this kid. It was like another game or like another comic book, something like Metal Gear Solid, where Snake was with a kid or something like that. And I was scared that this was going to be a Last of Us copy. Come to find out, this game is not going to be like Last of Us, but more going towards the Dark Souls realm of things. When the directors and the people who worked on this game were talking about it, one of the things that they said is they said they didn't want this to be a Dark Souls. They didn't want it to be a full Dark Souls copy, even though that was one of the games that they liked a lot as far as games to look up to when it comes to developing this game. But when I looked at gameplay of it, when I looked at the controls of the game and the way this game plays, this game is very much like Dark Souls. You have as far as the controls go, R1 for light attack, R2 for heavy attack. You have your block with shield. With R2, you have different weapons. Even the way the HUD is set up with how you access your weapons and your items and you view your health bar and things like that is very much Dark Souls-esque. And if you look at gameplay and listen to them explain it, you'll see that for yourself. Except it has its own spin. It's got its own graphics on it. The graphics look great on this game, by the way. But if you look at this game and you've played the Dark Souls or Soulsborne, any of the Soulsborne games, which I have. I've been recently playing a lot of Bloodborne, and I've played a tidbit of Dark Souls. And those games are really fun. I do like those games, but this game is for sure remodeled after those games. And even when they go into the managing of the characters, the skill tree of the weapons and things, there's even supposedly costumes in this game for Kratos to wear. And I at the whole time I was looking at this gameplay, the whole time I was thinking, I was like, this is definitely a Dark Souls type thing when it comes to gameplay. And that's not like that's not a bad thing. I was sitting there thinking to myself the whole time, like, this is not a bad thing that this is remodeling itself after those games, because those games definitely work, and they have been for a while a new way to play video games. Even going back to the fact of, I made a previous video where I was confused as to whether this was an open world game or anything like that, because when you go to certain areas, it'd say you discover those areas. And now that it's clear on what this game is trying to remodel itself after, that it's very akin to Dark Souls and Bloodborne, where you go into an area, it's like this area discovered. In Bloodborne, when you first reach Central Yharnam, it's like, this is Central Yharnam, you discover this area. And those games aren't necessarily open world game. Those games are games where everything loops back together, pretty much like a Devil May Cry game, or any ARPG, where you have to go forth and collect elements to go back to one certain part of the level to access it and then get access to the boss. Very reminiscent of the God of War games itself, if you ever played those games. But the way that this game is going to play, if you're familiar with Dark Souls or Bloodborne, it is going to be like that. And the reason I say it's not a bad way to play is because I think this is an interesting take. I think this could possibly be sort of a step into a new evolution or a way of playing video games. Because I as I said before, I really do like the Bloodborne game. I've taken a fine liking to that game, and hopefully later on I can give a review for you guys for that game. But as I was playing that game and as I was playing Dark Souls, I couldn't help but think to myself, this game would be really cool if it had Devil May Cry's combat system. If it had like a proper combat system, because those games are neat. I like the way they play. I like the way the battle is set up and everything. But if the combat was sleek, if it had like a combo system to where it has like the stylish or the sadistic combos or whatever have you, and like you can switch weapons on the fly, kind of like and the best example for that is the DMC remake. So if it had a combat system like that but still had the makings of the Dark Souls and Bloodborne, that would be an optimal game. That would be a prime game right there. And this game is going in the step of that direction. I mean, of course, you can do this showing in the video here. You can do air juggles, you can do wall bounces and things like that. So this game definitely is a step in that direction. There's been a lot of rumors and talk about a DMC5, and even in the DMC5, reading the description of those rumors, I was starting to think to myself, are they what direction are they going with this? Are they trying to like make it like Dark Souls or Bloodborne? So if that actually happened, that would be great. I do like the change as far as the gameplay goes with this. At first I didn't like it because it's very risky, and I'm pretty sure the creators and developers know this. It's very risky changing up a formula of a game that has worked for so many years. You see what I'm saying? Why change something that has worked, that has gotten you so many acclaims, so much praise for how your gameplay and your game style has been, to go for something completely different? They are scrapping everything. God of War used to be a hack and slash. Now this is an ARPG, and I call it ARPG because it's proper item and equipment management. You can level up your equipment, you can level up your items, you can go back and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a new game plus when it comes with this. So this is pretty awesome. I don't now that I see what this game is, now that it's full and it's clear on what this is, I don't see this as a bad thing at all. Even though I am still cautious. I'm going to be cautious. I'm a little worried because we're only getting all of this information a month before this game has come out. So that should very much be troubling to everybody on how it can work and how much longevity this game will have when it just comes to this game as a whole. But I do like it. I like the fact that this will be an ARPG, and it'll have its own God of War style to it. And as they said it, as I seen in this video itself, for people that were worried about Kratos, his rage drive being toned down a little bit, of course it's going to be toned down because the character of Kratos has changed a lot. It's still there. Kratos is still Kratos, but something has changed between God of War 3 and this game to where Kratos is he's been neutered. Even when he had a family before, he still was a tyrant. I just got done reading a post on that about fucking Kratos' character. But I do think the cool thing about this is that the whole team has made an effort to change Kratos' character. How that will work for the story, I'm not too sure. But I do think it's a good thing. I mean, you can only go so far with unjust rage and wanting to satisfy that the need for the fantasy of that. I think it's a cool idea that Kratos' character is changing, regardless of how realistic that may or may not be. It's a fucking video game, so I don't care. But I do think it's cool. I like, after seeing this gameplay and after remembering all the trailers and all the gameplay and coming back to this and their explanation and seeing, oh, that's why this was like this. That's why this said this. That's why there was the direction of this. If you all like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, I think you should be excited to play this game. I'm still going to be cautious. Even when this comes out, even if there's like a demo and something like that, I think I may wait a bit before I actually play it, because as I stated before, and as I noted to myself, and I gotta work on myself, I can get really fucking excited for a game during the beginning when all the initial hype is there, and then later on be disappointed because somehow, somewhere, the company's fucked up and they haven't delivered how they put on how they said they were going to deliver. I.e. games like Naruto, in my opinion, the Xenoverse series. Regardless of your opinions about that, I have my own opinions about games and things like that. But yeah, overall, that's about it that I could say as far as watching this video. That I do like the direction God of War is taking. Thought it was going towards a Last of Us approach, and that, of course, anybody can see that and anybody can say that because you have Kratos, the professional, with something he has to protect, which that was the story of Last of Us. You had the main character trying to protect Ellie. He had Ellie. Basically, Ellie was a tag along, but the main character didn't want to abandon Ellie. So I was like, oh, this is going to be some kind of open world Last of Us, but it's not that. It's more akin to Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and that's, for me, that's not a bad thing. I really do think this is a good step in the direction of video games and how they will go and how they can go in the future, especially if all those rumors about a Devil May Cry being true and the explanation for it being true. This can be a really good thing. Just imagine that. I can't sit here and say that I'm the only person that have ever thought that, yo, what if a Dark Souls or Bloodborne game had the combat system and the combat style of Devil May Cry, but everything else, like just the combat was changed and everything else in the game stayed exactly the same? That would be a dope ass game. And if that's the case for this game and future games, I'd be pretty excited about that. I haven't seen like a combo counter or anything else like that, but I'm like, my initial reaction towards this game has changed dramatically from when I first thought about it. Because I was just like, oh, Kratos is changing, the gameplay is changing, it's something about it's not going to work. But especially after playing Bloodborne, my opinion about that has changed, because Bloodborne, that game has my attention. That game has my attention. I like that game. I like the way it's set up. It doesn't just tell the story in one way. The world inside the game tells the story for it, and that opens up room for interpretation from anybody that is exploring this game or anybody that's playing this game is the world itself tells the story. Kind of like if you were going to a haunted house or something like that, or like a fun house. You don't get anybody that's standing beside you explaining the place to you. You go around and you look at all the shit on the wall and you look at the way everything's set up, and that tells a story, and you kind of get the picture and the idea in your mind of what the hell is going on. So that's all I have to say about this game. Nothing but surprisingly good reactions when it comes to this game. I am looking forward to more gameplay. I do hope we get more gameplay. It is the negative about this is that we are just getting this a month before this game's release. So it does make me question a little bit, okay, what have you guys actually been doing? Is this a last minute change compared to the stuff that y'all had in the beginning? But overall, as just seeing this 15-minute gameplay has changed my thoughts about it dramatically. And going back and looking at the story and thinking about my playthroughs with Bloodborne and Dark Souls, that changed my opinion about this dramatically. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section down below. And things like that. I'm actually in the comment section down below. I'm also going to post the links to the post that I was talking about. The post that I read about, an interesting post that I read about Kratos' character in the God of War series down below, and also a post about the DMC5 rumors. Because if you sit there and you read the explanation of what it was supposed to be, I was very confused at first because I have never played Dark Souls or Bloodborne. But if you read the explanation and if you're privy with those games, you will sit there and it will start to ring a bell, and it'll start looking like a Dark Souls game with the combat of Devil May Cry. If that's the case, it's going to be very fucking exciting. And if that's the case with this game, which is really looking like it, I'd be okay with that. That's not going to be a problem with me at all. So let me know what you guys think about that down below. I'm out of this bitch. You already know what to do, man. Boskov talking about some God of War dropping next month around the 20th. Y'all keep them shallows long, them clips tight, and I will see all you silly hoes on the flip one. Peace.